Making tax digital is not automatic. So this session will cover specific terminology that connects with making tax digital, so you know what to do next in relation to making tax digital. So don't forget to like and subscribe and follow along for more helpful top tips. Hi, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Lucy Burton and I run Burton's Academy. This is where I provide accounting top tips and software guidance for business owners and accountants. During this video, I want to clear up some of the terminology that connects with making tax digital. There is a lot of misunderstanding about what it is, whether it applies to you, and what you actually need to do. So to start things off, making tax digital is not automatic. Just because you have accounting software and potentially an accountant does not mean you're automatically complying with making tax digital. Making tax digital does not just happen in the background. You won't automatically be registered, and HMRC won't just switch you over without you knowing. To be compliant, you need to sign up for Making Tax Digital with HMRC, make sure your accounting software is up to date for Making Tax Digital compliance, and also ensure the two things are connected. Again, all of these things are not automatically done, and you can do them yourself if you know how. If not, all accountants will have the knowledge and know-how to complete these connections for you and get you set up, ready for making tax digital. Most people will choose to work with an accountant to get everything set up properly, and that is usually the safest option. Number 2, quarterly submissions are not automatic either. Just because you have an accounting software and it is up to date because you're keeping on top of those books, well done, by the way. We do know how difficult that can be. But unfortunately, this does not mean that your Making Tax Digital submissions are completed. You do need to do some things in the background as well. What you need to do, you need to review those numbers. You need to go into the accounting software and submit the tax returns on a quarterly basis. The first one being due by the 7th of August. Alternatively, again, you can ask your accountants for help with this, but you need to ensure that you are engaged with them for that service. They will not automatically do this for you. Never assume anything is done. Have those conversations. Reach out today. When we talk software, what you need to bear in mind is something called compatible software. HMRC has removed their online filing service, and therefore you will now need to use HMRC approved software. If you're using Xero or QuickBooks, both of these are approved softwares, and you are ready to get connected for HMRC for making tax digital. Compatible softwares mean it can keep digital records, it can connect directly to HMRC, and it can submit your returns using the accounting software. Again, your accountant will know exactly what software you need to be on to ensure this goes through. So do have those conversations if you're unsure. Spreadsheets on their own are not enough anymore. Unless they're linked to bridging software, this can be submitted to HMRC. Speak to your accountant today about any other accounting software you may need. Now, let's talk about this main word, income. What do we mean when we're saying you have to receive income of a certain value and that makes you Making Tax Digital compliant from this year? When HMRC are talking income, they do not mean money sitting in your bank, cash in your pocket, what you've got left after your expenses, such as your travel, and what you pay yourself. What we do mean, however, is turnover, revenue. All of these are just another word for income. So for example, the total amount you charge your customers before any costs, that is your income, turnover, or revenue. And therefore, if this goes over the threshold, you will need to be Making Tax Digital compliant. It does not matter whether you have not made a profit this year, but your income has been, for example, 55,000. you are still compliant for Making Tax Digital this year. What do we mean by business income? Another really important factor to bear in mind, not all money coming in is necessarily business income, but a lot of people assume it is. So some examples of business income includes sales to customers, fees for services, side hustle earnings, so if you've got vintage sales, freelance or contractor work. But what isn't included in as income is personal money you transfer into your business, loans, VAT you collect from HMRC, transfers between your own accounts. So again, it's about what you're earning from your business activity. That is classed as business income. So here's a quick example. If you have an invoice sent to a customer for £100 and you've had to travel and get to that client for £20, your profit is £80. However, your income is still £100. And Making Tax Digital will look at that £100 rather than the 80. And finally, Making Tax Digital and your accounts are always your responsibility. Whether you engage with an accountant or not, it is your responsibility to ensure that your accounts are submitted. Your accountant will not automatically do any of these services for you. They should be keeping you up to date with all of the changes and requesting that you take out their services to be Making Tax Digital compliant. However, if you do not engage them, then they will not be completing any Making Tax Digital services, and it will be your responsibility to file your quarterly submissions. So don't forget to reach out with your accountant today, have those conversations, be clear on whose responsibility it is to complete the quarterly submissions and get you set up for Making Tax Digital, or even to find out whether you need to set up for Making Tax Digital. Another thing to bear in mind, if you're not sure whether you need to set up or not with Making Tax Digital, you can phone HMRC today. They have a list of all of those that are required to sign up for this first round. So they will be able to confirm on the phone today whether you need to even worry about Making Tax Digital. So let's summarise what we've learned. Making Tax Digital submissions is not automatic. HMRC setup for Making Tax Digital is not automatic. Accounting software set up for Making Tax Digital compliance is not automatic, and there are some very fine tunings you need to do in the software if you haven't done already. You need compatible software such as Xero or QuickBooks. Making Tax Digital applies to the income value, not the profit. And responsibility ultimately sits with you to ensure you are signed up and submitting quarterly tax returns. I do hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow along for more helpful top tips. See you at the next one.